back to the channel. If you are new to the channel, it's great to have you and welcome. It's been about a year since I showed you my huge pile of WIPS, and about a year ago I wrote up this list of WIPS, and I started off with around 80 WIPS, and I've subsequently been ticking it off and trying really hard not to add too many more to it. So I thought, since it is almost July, it would be a really great and fun video to update this list and see, have I done worse or better in a year's time? In all the coloring I've done in a year, have I actually knocked things back, or have I maintained my 80 WIPS? So I'm going to have a piece of paper near me. I'm going to be writing my WIPS down. I've got my books all out. I'm not going to show you all my completed pages within the books. I will show you my WIPS, and I will show you the pages on here that I have completed. And then we'll go through that and make a new list. So it's probably going to be quite a long video. If it goes too long, I might do this over 2 parts. Hopefully not 3, but we'll see how we go. So grab a snack, grab a drink, and sit down and make yourself comfy, and let's have a look at my progress. So what I ended up doing with this list is, in 2023, when I got my creative companion journal, I did transfer some of it into my journal here somewhere. Bear with me while I try and find out where I've put this, because I don't always tag things together. Right, here we go. So I have made a bit of a list already. So as you can see, it is slightly updated. So I'm going to, and when I put this in my journal, I had a total of 53 WIPS. So I had narrowed this from 80 down to 53. That would have been around February or March when I updated this. So I'm going to continue adding over here as we go along. So let's have a look. Right, so in Maria Trolleys' Twilight Garden, this is the only Maria Trolle book that I own. On my original list, I had 1 WIP. So, and that one I had started off with Castle Art watercolor pencils, of which I've subsequently decided I don't really like. So I'm probably going to look at selling them. But it was this page, which is now complete. And I completed that August 2022, so August last year. I used a mixture of pencils, some Arteza, but then largely polychromos to complete this page. And then the background is chalk pastels, just really cheap chalk pastels. So yeah, I think it came out really, really well. And I found that polys worked pretty good on this paper. So that is my WIP in Maria Trolleys' The Secret Garden, and I have no more WIPs in this book. So that one is a put away, I'm happy kind of thing. Then we have Drummondwanger by Tomislav Tomic. And the WIP that I had is still a WIP today. And then I've gone and added more, because why wouldn't we add more WIPs, you know? So this is the WIP. And it's just because I'm using pencil, it's just a lot of work. And then I get frustrated with the amount of work. So I think it will look really, really lovely when it's complete. But yeah, it's hard work. So I need to come back to it at some point. Don't ask me when. I do believe it will get done. It's just a matter of timing. And I've got my notes and everything, so I do remember what I'm doing. And then I went and added 2 more WIPs here. So I've got this one, which I am enjoying, but I am a bit lost because of all the detail. I get quite lost. So I'm undecided on what to do with the tree trunk and how I'm going to balance this color palette. I might have to bring in more colors. Sometimes having a limited palette actually makes things worse than improves things. So yeah, I need to come back to this. And then the other WIP is this side. So I've done the one page, which is this one, and then I need to come over to this side and do it. And I'm thinking of giving him like a white belly with very light blue tinges, and then the rest dark blacks and blues. Well, maybe more blacks. So I got a little bit lost trying to plan out the dragon, and I need to come back and do the trees and bring the tree colors into the dragon and carry him on. So it's a simple color. It just wears down my Prismas very quickly. So let's get out my book and my pen and update my pages. So I still have, I'm just going to close this because this is oil background, oil pastel. So okay, so here I've got Drummondwanger up here. So if I bring up my pen, I'm going to add 2 more boxes because I have 2 more WIPs in here. So that's that one. Right, so then we have I'm trying to bring out some of the old ones and leave some of the new ones for last. So let's have a look at Gracia Salvo's Wild Soul. Now, I only had 1 WIP in here and I did complete it. I hated the paper. I'm convinced that this paper is printed the wrong way around. And I'm really, oh, there it is. So this was my WIP. I'm just angling the book up so it doesn't, if I lie it flat, you get that horrible glare. So I used a variety of medium, from pencil to marker to I think watercolor, but mainly marker and pencil. And I ended up finishing using Prismacolors. I tried polys and they didn't work really well. I didn't like it. So yeah, that's my WIP. So no more in Wild Soul by Gracia Salvo, which is great. And then we have Magical City by Lizzie Mary Cullen. And I think I've done all the WIPs in here. So the first WIP was this page, and then I went in and completed it using Inktense. I try only use Inktense for this book because I started it that way and it gives me a reason to use my Inktense pencils. And then I came and completed the stained glass, which was really, really great. And then I also had this one here, St. Basil Cathedral, and I was able to finish that up. So when I started my original list, I had 2 WIPs and I completed them both, and I haven't started any new WIPs in here. So this book is now complete, which is fantastic, and there's no new WIPs. Then we had Goddesses by Martin Noble. I had 1 WIP in here, which was this one, and I used Prismacolors. I tried to play around with some clouds. Yeah, and overall I think it turned out really, really pretty. Some paint pens, some gel pens, and yeah. So no more new pages in here. So that one's complete. So if I come here with a different color pencil. So let's say I use my red pencil. I've done Maria Trolley, I've done Gracia Salvo, and I've done Marty Noble, which I've already ticked. So then we have Ken Matsuda's coloring book, and I have one and only WIP in here. I have done a little bit more in it, and then I close the book and I walk away. I'm trying to copy Ken Matsuda's artwork, and I'm using mainly Prismacolor pencils, which are really lovely on the paper, but I think in the process of trying to copy, I'm just getting myself overwhelmed. So then I close the book. But yeah, so that is still a WIP. So if I bring my book in here and just double check. All right, so I still have it here. Drummondwanger has 2, Ken Matsuda has 1. So that's still good. And then here we have Momo Girl's, I think this is the music book. And I have only one WIP in here, and it's this one. But I am thinking of doing it for the checklist challenge, and because I think it's anime. I could be wrong, so I'm gonna go with it as anime or manga. If I'm wrong, please let me know in the comments, because then I can save myself. I am very, very intimidated by this book, and I honestly haven't decided if manga or anime is my style, but I do want to finish this because I like that it's got a bit of grayscale. And I think what's been putting me off is I've overthought the background, and I've thought clouds and light pinks, and maybe I just need to do a simple chalk pastel background and then do the image. So yeah, this one is on my list to do and to complete. So if we check here, I don't have it here. I think I didn't put it on because I felt that I was not going to ever get around to finishing it. So, because some of them I have written off. So we'll call it Girl with Music. And I'll just put Momo in the brackets. And it's 1. But we'll stay honest. So that is Momo Girl. Right. Then we have, I'm going to zoom you into Reptiloids. So I have done a bit more work and then walked away. So I did a bit more work on this one. I should just get on with it and finish it, really. And I did a bit more here with markers and then walked away. And we've got this one. All still in marker. I just need to go over it with pencil. And then I need to finish basing this one and finish it. So those 3. I don't think there was any more. 2. Yeah, so that's the 4 of them by Reptiloids by Basil Seiko. Which I've got here as all 4. So Then we have 100 Hugs by Chris Riddle. And here, I think I've done them all. So if we bring this in, was 2. I had 2. So I finished that one. I've got the bat. I don't actually remember which 2 they were. Which is really funny. I had 2 in here, but I don't. So I've done the bats. And I think it was this one. So I did that one. And I think that was it, really. Yeah. So I did all of the WIPs in here. There's no more WIPs, so that one's complete. Okay, so next we have Clara Markova. And I'm just going to zoom you out a bit so you can see. Now I have to be careful with this book because it has got pictures in here that I didn't color, and I don't know who the person is who colored them, and I don't want to take credit for their work. So I still have this page. I've done a little bit more. I've started with a bit of a background, worked on a few more strawberries, and I think I'm been working on the leaves. So, and then I came over here and I've been doing this, trying to keep my colors. So yeah, I just need to sit down and get on with it, really. I think I was finishing up some of the flowers as well. So yeah, it's slow going. But then I went and bought Fairy Touch of Magic, and I have a WIP in here because I'm desperate to start this book, and I finally started, and this is as far as I've gotten. So hip hip hooray. But that's it. So I have a Clara Markova WIP, which I need to add. So let's do that. So here it's Magical Delights, so that was one, but I need to add Fairy Touch of Magic. So if we come in here, and I have one, which is a double page spread, which I need to finish because I wanted as my spring page for the checklist challenge. Oh, wrong book. So that is my Clara Markova WIPs. Then we have a poll. Now I'm not at all proud of this WIP. I had 3 WIPs, so I will show you which one I did and which one I had. Now, I ended up spilling coffee on this book, and ended up coloring a totally different page. So I spilled coffee on this page. So this is a WIP. I've been using watercolor paints in the background and some pencil, but I found using watercolor as a base, if nothing else, really helps to get the picture done. And then I'll show you the other WIP, which is still a WIP. It's this one. And then I did the other one, which is this one, and I completely messed up the background, so I'm not at all happy with this. I don't like it, and at some point, if I ever get something like a gouache or an acrylic and I could mix up a better palette, I'll go over it and see if I can fix it up, but for now I've ruined it. So live and learn. That is a poll. Forest Girls coloring book. So let's see, April I still have 3. I think I counted one more, so it was those 2, and then there was this page in here where her skin has been colored and she's standing by a garden. This one, so I counted this one. Yeah, so those are my WIPs in April's Forest Girls coloring book. Next I have Layla Dooley, the Flower Year coloring book, which on my original list I had 3 WIPs. So I will show you what I have. I actually don't remember which WIPs they were. Oh my goodness. So this is my one and only WIP, which I need to just work on with polys and finish it up. And this was a WIP at one stage, so I did finish that one. And then my other WIP was on this page, and I'd only done the wild strawberries. Oh no, I'd done one of them and the rest were blank, so I ended up finishing them. So those are my WIPs. I don't remember if I had any more. I don't think so. Oh, and then I've got one WIP here technically because I haven't done the crocuses here. So I'm going to go and add this to my journal as a WIP. So technically I have got two WIPs. But it all depends on how you look at it. I don't want to do the crocus now though, because I like coloring the flowers more or less in season, unless my mood takes me somewhere else. So those are my WIPs in Layla Dooley's The Flower Year coloring book. Right, next we have the Rita Berman books. So these 2 Rita Berman books have had WIPs in, and one of them still has a WIP. So let's have a look. I have Die Welt unter der Lupe Zulandi, which had 2 WIPs. And I will show you which ones they were. So the first one was this one. It was a long-standing WIP. I had started the background with ink tints and a bit of castle art pencils. So I finished it with a mix of paint pens, Prismacolors, castle art, and maybe Neocolor 2s. But yeah, I'm pretty pleased with how it came out. I managed to get quite a nice amount of depth and shine onto the teapot and the cup here. So yeah, overall really pleased with it. And then the other WIP was the berry page, which I also managed to complete, and I used Prismacolor pencils for this, but I didn't write down my color combos, so I forgotten what colors I used, which is why I now try and keep track of my color combos. And yeah, so those are my 2 WIPs done in Rita Berman's Die Welt unter der Lupe Zulandi. And I don't think I have any more WIPs in here, so let's just check. It should all be up to date now. So no more whips in there. And then in Main Race Dirt Europa, I had 2 whips, and then I only got 1. So this was a whip at one stage, and I completed it. And then this is the other whip. And I'm just not coming back to it because I've gotten a little bit lost as to how to complete everything. So yeah, that's why it's still a whip. And then we can check for any other whips. Yeah, so that is my one and only Rita Berman whip. So let's have a look. So I've got 1 whip here for Europa. And then we have Kanoka Igusa's books. And here in Kingdom of Curious Creatures, I still have the same whip, which is this one. I haven't done too much on it. I decided I didn't like the wallpaper and the background, so I just put it away instead of persevering. So that's that one in Kingdom of Curious Creatures by Kanoka Igusa. This one is Minuet Debonair. And then in Garden of Fairy Tale Animals or Rhapsody in the Forest by Kanoka Igusa, my one and only whip is this one, which I still need to film and put up on the channel. So I've got an idea for the background. I'm a bit lost in the rest of the birdhouse. I'm not sure yet what color to do the birdhouse. I might have to do it like a light birch or something like that. But it's not a lot left to do, so I really just need to sit down and do it. But as always, time is pressing, and I don't have enough time to do all the things I want to do. So that is Garden of Fairy Tale Animals by Kanoka Igusa, which means I have 2 whips. So let's have a look. Yeah, I've got them here. Garden of Fairy Tale Animals and Kingdom of Curious Creatures. So those 2 are there. Next, I have Varian Fantasy 2 Grayscale Coloring Book by Christine Karen. And here I have 1 whip, which is I'm doing with my son as kind of like a buddy color along. And it's this one. We're using Prismacolor pencils. So we just need to carry on working with it. And we're trying to do a very gentle color palette, so very pastel-y colors, but I think my page might need a bit more layers. So yeah, that is my one and only whip in Varian Fantasy 2 Grayscale Coloring Book by Christine Karen, which I need to add to my journal. So and then at the end of this we will add it all up and see how bad it is. Then next we have Jasmine Beckett Griffith's coloring book, which is a new book since I did my whip list. And in here, I think I only have 1 whip. Let me just double check. Yeah, so okay, so I only have 1 whip, and it is the Alice and Snow White page. which I'm doing in Prismacolors. But now that I've already done a page in this book, I know I can do this, so I just need to sit down and carry on working with it. So that is my Jasmine Beckett Griffith WIP. To add to my list of WIPs, and then in 2024, when I get the new journal, I will update this. And we can see how it's changed and evolved. Actually, we do that, and it's easier to keep track of. Right, so we've got those. Then I have Circle of Life by Melpomene Chatsapanagouti. And here I have one WIP, which is this page. And I will complete it now that I've worked out how I'm going to do the whale and the narwhals. So I just really need to do from this side down, and then it will be done. So that is my one and only WIP in Circle of Life by Melpomene Chatsapanagouti. Then we have Gnomes in the Neighborhood by Denise Klett, and here I had two WIPs and I dropped it down to one. So I've got to remember which one it was. So this is my outstanding WIP. It's still outstanding, and I'm put off because I've somehow made marks here. So yeah, that's kind of ruined it. Oh, and technically I have two WIPs because I have this one which I'm trying to do in acrylic paint, and it's not working very well for me. It's becoming a mess, so I will have to persevere through and finish it because of the checklist challenge, but I'm struggling. I decided to do the skin with pencil because I don't have enough acrylic paint to actually do skin tones, so I've given myself grace to just use pencil on that, but everything else it's either paint pen or acrylic paint. So I've technically got two WIPs in here, and I'm trying to work out which one was the other WIP I had. I think it was this one. That was my WIP, in which case I used alcohol markers, Neocolor 2s, Prismacolor pencils. Yeah, so that was my other WIP. And then I used Dovecraft Pearl 3D effects and gel pen and all sorts of beautiful things. So yeah, that was my completed WIP in here. So I have two in Gnomes in the Neighborhood. So let's mark this as 2. Next up is Nice Little Town 6 by Tanya Bogema-Stolova. And in this one, I had 6 WIPs. So I'll show you the WIPs. I had this WIP, which I completed using Prismacolor pencils, I think. And then I have quite a few WIPs in here. Then I have this one, which is a marker base, and I need to go over it with pencil. I get lost with the colors. I think I'm overthinking these instead of just coloring them and getting on with it. Then the other WIP is this one here, which is a mixture of polychromos and Prismacolors and alcohol markers as a base. So these I started way back in 2020, and 3 years later I'm still struggling to complete them because I'm just honestly trying to make a masterpiece out of it instead of just enjoying the process, really. So like I said, I'm overthinking things. And then I have this one, which I was using Castle Art pencils, and I can easily go ahead and carry on with Castle Art pencils on here. And then this is the completed WIP, so Castle Art pencils and Prismacolors to complete it. And yeah, not bad. And then the other WIP is this one, which is a base of Inktense pencils, and I clammed up and walked away. So we can see the habit. And I've found that my the pictures I tend to walk away from generally are because I'm either overwhelmed or I haven't thought the page through properly. So I haven't sat down, planned the colors as best as I can, worked out the elements, which colors are going where, and sort of things. So I found I've had more success with my WIPs and reducing my WIPs when I've thought through the page pretty well and balanced the colors, and I can sort of figure out my way. So that is Nice Little Town 6, which means I have 5 WIPs in here. And I should have it here. Nice Little 6. It should be 5. Next is Tales from the Midnight Masquerade, well, my Hannah Carlson books. So this is going to be fun. All right, so in Midnight Masquerade, I had 2 WIPs, and I think I still have the same 2 WIPs. I struggle, I don't really come into this book. At the moment, I'm focused on Tales from the Forest Kingdom. So these are my 2 WIPs, and they're WIPs because I hate the background. I feel like I've completely ruined the background and it's completely put me off. So and then I think I've gone wrong on the skin here. So her skin is lovely. Her skin I'm not sure about. I think I need to finish the whole page and then see. And then I want to do her, I think, pinks. So she's a softer color, she's a harder color kind of thing. But I think that's the only, yeah, that's the only WIPs I have in this page, in this book. So that's my Midnight Masquerade. So that's 2 pages. Midnight Masquerade 2. Okay. So then we have Tales from the Forest Kingdom, which is the book I'm focusing on a lot more this year. And here I should have 2 WIPs. So this has been a live stream video we've been doing. It's still a WIP, but it will be completed. I just need to just sit down and do it, but I'm hoping to have it done soon because it's so close to being done. And then the WIP I did have that I finished was this one. So this is the whip I finished. I use Prismacolors, Graphitin, Spectrum Noir Sparkle, gel pen, and a lot of imagination. Then the other whip I've got is this one here. And I really was so inspired doing the page opposite. I came in to do this one, but then I used Neocolor 2s in the background, and I made the wrong choice using this yellow. I should have used maybe more of a white, and so it's just completely thrown me. But I'm planning on using muted tones and working on this. So yeah, this one will take a while to get back into. But that's my whips in Tales from the Forest Kingdom by Hannah Carlson. So here we go. We've got Midnight Masquerade here. I have Magical Dawn up here, but I need to add Tales from the Forest Kingdom. And then we have Magical Dawn by Hannah Carlson, of which I had 7 whips. So let's have a look. Whip number 1 is the This Book Belongs to Me page. Then we have whip number 2, which is now complete. Hooray! So that's now complete. Yeah, which was a big deal to actually complete that one. And then, so I have one whip. This is the second whip, which is a double page spread. I think I'm still going to give her pink hair, but I feel like I know a little bit more about how I'm going to do that. And then the third whip is this one, which I'm very close to completing. The fourth whip, but completed one, was this one. So, which I used gold foil eyeshadow in the background after I tea stained it. I've used gel pens, Dovecraft glitter glue, white screw jelly roll, and I've made it really, really shiny, as you can see. If I do that, it's super shiny. So then I've added a whip because I've added this one. And I'm using a reference photo of someone else's interpretation of this just to help me give the woman boobs and folds in their clothes. So that's a new whip. Then the other page was a whip and I completed was this one, which I followed Zucchini Kitty tutorial. So I just carried on following her tutorial and completed this. And then this is a whip, but this will only be done when I see my mom, because she and I have been coloring this page together. So this one is a whip, but not a whip at the same time. I don't really count this one, let's put it that way. And then I have this whip, which is coming along really, really nicely. I have done a bit more. I've given a bit more shape and everything. I'm busy working on the crown. I need to finish her hair. Her hair's not done. I don't know why this one's taking forever. It really shouldn't take forever. There's really no reason for it, but it is. And then another whip I completed is this one, and I'm really, really pleased with how it came out. I did grab color combos from Miss Martley on YouTube, and that really helped me a lot to balance it. And then I used acrylic paint on a sponge to kind of create a sea foam. The other WIP I completed was the bug and the apple, which I think actually came out really, really lovely. And I did use the Helen Elliston color special effects to help me with the outside of the apple. So those are all my WIPs and completed WIPs in Magical Dawn by Hannah Carlson. So technically I've had 10 WIPs in Magical Dawn, and I've colored in some. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So yeah, I counted 10 in total. So I'm going to make this 10. And I will double check how many I've completed, and I'll color them in as I go. Then we have Anastasia Ellie Caldereva's books. Now in Mysteria I had one WIP, which was this one. And I really liked how she came up. I hate the background. I think I made a poor choice as far as backgrounds go. But as far as the bird and the girl go and the plants, I think they came out really, really well. So please ignore the background and oogle and love the picture, not the background. So yeah, that was my WIP in here. And it's the only WIP I've got, so this one is complete. Anastasia Ellie Caldereva's Mysteria. Then in a Maritime coloring book by Anastasia Ellie Caldereva, I have a couple of WIPs. So I have this one, which I've based in markers, and I'm frantically and desperately trying to fix. And I'm not sure it's going very well, but I have faith that it will turn out okay in the end. Then I have this WIP, which I followed a Chris Cheng tutorial and interpreted onto this page. I also use Anastasia Ellie Caldereva's pictures for the highlights on the neck and the shoulder. I also followed and interpreted an Chris Cheng tutorial for the hair. So I interpreted the video even though she didn't do these ones. The magnolias are completely done by me on my own, no video. And I want to give this to a friend when I'm done, so that's why I'm taking terribly long. I'm really trying to make sure that my coloring doesn't go down because everything else is so beautiful. So I need to keep that style and the quality up to standard. So I'm almost erring on waiting until so that I keep improving, because then the quality of this page will stay very similar. So yeah, I'm just full of excuses. I don't want to mess it up. That's the main reason. So that's 2 WIPs. Then the third WIP is this one. And all I really have to do is finish the flowers and the jewelry, and then this bit of her skin here. But here she does, this is a blemish because the paper is actually broken. The paper is broken. So that's my other WIP. And then my completed page is this one, which I think just needs even more layers than what it has. The color needs to be built up even more. But I was desperate to have it done, so I finished it. All Prismacolor pencils, and I used a Chris Cheng tutorial and adapted it for the skin, but everything else is myself. I might have referred to a DK Design YouTube video for the moon and the background and interpreted it to fit this book. So Those are my completed WIPS and my WIPS in a Maritime colouring book by Anastasia Ellie called Riva, which means I have 3 in here. And I have 3 marked down. The next book by Anastasia Ellie called Riva is When Dragons Dream colouring book. And here I have this WIP, followed by this WIP, which I really need to come back and finish. I want to do a watercolor background, and I'm using Inktense pencils. And then I have this WIP, all done with Prismacolor pencils. I'm thinking of going in either with alcohol marker or Inktense as a base, just to help speed things along. I also have this WIP, which is Inktense pencils and Arteza pencils. So I just need to get my pencils out and then carry on building up the layers and finishing it up. Yeah, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 4 dragons I have not completed. So it stays the same as when I started this list. So dragons here, I have to add 1 because I have 4 and not 3. All right, everyone, it's been quite a long video so far, so I am going to do a part 2 of my updated WIPS video. So I will see you in that video. Thank you so much for watching. Please do like, subscribe, and comment below. Let me know your thoughts, and I will see you in the next video. Until then, everyone, happy coloring.